Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel and discuss a horror movie every day of the month of October. Today, we are talking about the 1984 film A Nightmare on Elm Street, which was written and directed by Wes Craven. I'm your co-host, Alec.
And I'm Erik.
And this is a classic Holy Trinity, as we call it, of Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street, the slasher 80s Holy Trinity. This is the second one we've discussed technically. Erik, what are your initial revisiting thoughts on A Nightmare on Elm Street?
Up yours with the twirling lawnmower. You know that line? That's my favorite line in the movie.
That's Rod, right?
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. That's like
Up
the one
yours
thing.
with the twirling lawnmower.
Really quick, you want to know something interesting about him?
Bring it on. That's why we're here.
So he is, I believe, Puerto Rican in real life, and his agent was like, "Hey, we need to change your last name and make you seem like you're not Puerto Rican. You need to come." Yeah, yep. His last name is Garcia. His name is Jesus Garcia, but in this movie, his name is Nick Corey.
Nick
So
Corey.
I'm sorry, he's Cuban. He's a Cuban immigrant, and and his agent was like, "You need to change your last name to make you seem like you're Italian because no one's gonna hire Cuban actors."
That's so shitty. Like to have to change it. And so many actors go by the changing their name just because they want to, but
Yeah.
like to do it just because like hey, no one's gonna hire you. It's like
Isn't
damn,
that
that's
isn't that
so
fucked
messed
up?
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah, it is.
Tom Cruise didn't change his name because no one's gonna hire white people. He did is like, "This sounds cool."
Yeah,
But
it's like Tom Cruise.
but yeah, so I remember I heard that. I've watched a billion behind the scenes documentaries on this franchise, and I always remember that. And I was like, man, that would absolutely never happen now. But that's like
Probably does, dude, still in some way. I'm sure there's something along the lines,
yeah.
but
Well,
so
aside
shitty.
from the politics of behind the scenes,
Yeah.
what was the last time you saw this movie?
I think at your dad's house like 5 years ago or 6 years ago.
Okay, so it's been a while.
Yeah, we had a few people over. I think like Billy was there and a few other people, and it was fun. We were watching it, and yeah, I will never ever get tired of that opening dream sequence. First nightmare, I with the
Yeah.
goat, so awesome.
What's up with the way that it's shot? Like that very first couple shots where it's like the screen's smaller. You know what? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, when he's like building the glove.
Yeah, why is that, like, the frame rate so much smaller? Like, I like it, but it's such a weird choice.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it gives like the like ooh, makes you kind of want to squint in and see what he's doing, I guess. And then
Yeah.
it just goes large, like, and then the title sequence comes out.
Well,
Nightmare on Elm
dude,
Street.
I think the first time I ever saw this was at your house when we were, like, probably,
Way,
like,
way too
9 or
young.
10. Yeah, probably, like, 9 or 10, and, yeah, I do that opening sequence is very memorable in my mind because it always kind of feels like a montage almost. Quickly, you get the gloves coming through that sheet and ripping down, and you get that shot twice, and then it goes to, like, him building the gloves, and then you get Tina running, and you're like, "What is the fuck is going on right now?"
I love this movie because the whole thing feels like dream sequency.
Yeah.
The music adds to that dun, 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 and it just cuts. It's like, hey, you're in a boiler room. Into you go turn the corner and you're in a classroom. Then you turn the corner and it's like how a dream or a nightmare would work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no,
Nightmare sequence.
he did a great job of making everything just feel a little uneasy. I mean, even when Nancy's in the dream and she's in the hallway and she's running out, there's like leaves in the hallway, just little things that you're just like, oh, that's a little off, but she doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then like, there's a goat just going around. Why's a goat? It's like he was around the set, so we just threw him in the movie.
Yeah. But, but yeah, when you're having a dream or a nightmare, there are like things that are just like off and you like don't really care about it because it's a dream, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, man. Very, very it just draws you right in immediately. You don't see Freddy at all in that opening. You just see his hands and stuff.
You never really see his face too clear until
Yeah.
like closer to the middle end of the movie.
No, in the middle of the movie. It's
What?
right.
Oh yeah, you see it at the beginning. Yeah, I mean like it's so dark though. It's hard to see him.
The first time you really see his face is when he walks up and Tina's in that alleyway. And
Right.
he
Yeah,
says the like, "Oh my God, and this is God." Like
yeah.
that's his
Whoa,
first like real face moment.
true, true.
I think that is of Freddy, of Jason, of Michael Myers. That first intro of that shot, that's
Like,
the best of the
yeah,
three.
and he talks. That's a bonus point.
Yeah, you do have that. I mean, I think he's got. All right, I just want to say this basically. Of the three, I prefer the first Halloween as a movie the most. I think that's
Yeah,
the best movie. But I do think that Freddy Krueger is the most interesting character of the 3. I think his backstory is the
Mhm.
most interesting. I think the fact that he can talk makes it more interesting. I think his weapon is the most interesting of the 3. I think that's like, because Michael will use different things, Jason will use literally anything he sees, but Freddy, very consistent with the hand knife, and that's very specific to him. No
Yeah,
one
the glove.
has.
Well, he made it. He, like, hacked it together himself.
Right, and I love that because Michael's kinda known for the kitchen knife. Jason's known for the machete, but, he does other things too, but Freddy, no one uses the hand gloves, that's
Yeah, it's
it.
a part
So
of him. It's a part of him.
yeah,
It's like a piece of his body at that point.
and that's so I don't know, I love that, and obviously, he's the scariest of everybody because he can kill you no matter where you are.
I went as Freddy Krueger for Halloween when I was younger. Man, the glove was a bad choice because every time you had to go get candy and open your bag, you had to like put the fucking glove on again and all. It was the worst costume. And like I wore this mask too. I'm
Yep,
like running around and like whacking my head into
dude,
tree
I was
branches.
with you, I
Oh
remember that.
yeah, that was oh my god,
We
so
were in,
funny.
we were in Spencer's neighborhood, we were probably, like, 11,
Yeah.
dude,
Oh,
and,
that's so classic.
I do remember that, and I think you lost your hat, didn't
I
you?
did. I was pissed. I love that hat. It's like that was the dumbest idea to bring that hat out.
I remember you
And I
lost
had this
your hat.
like, the mask was huge, it was, like, flopping on my head.
Because no 11-year-old should be Freddy Krueger for Halloween.
No!
No.
No.
But yeah, I really do remember you losing that hat, and that was, like, a big deal. You're like, "Mom's gonna be so mad."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
you
shit.
sounded exactly like that too.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm in trouble. But I wanted to say, yeah, also when I was a kid, I had the same nightmare every night for a month, and it was basically, the ghastly grinner from Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's like some jester that's, like, blue and yellow, and he has, like, slime
Yes.
coming. I
Yeah.
had the same dream where I'm looking out my window of my bedroom, and I could see, like, the ghastly grinner or some like, running down the road to come get me, and it would be, like, this, like, whole thing, like, "Oh, I gotta wake up before he comes here," and I couldn't wake myself up. It was like, kinda like a sleep paralysis thing where, like, you when you have a nightmare and you just like, "I know I'm having a nightmare, and I can't wait." Every day for, like, a month, I had that nightmare, and it messed me up.
Do you think it was
But
any way influenced by this, or
no, I don't know what it influenced it. It was just my nightmare as a kid was this thing coming to chase me, and, like, I had, like, 30 seconds to wake up or it would
Mhm.
come get me. I'd always wake up before he got me, though. Like, it was, like, the fear of waiting for him to come get me, I guess, was what freaked me out.
I've never really had a lot of problems with nightmares or anything like that. I've dated people in the past, that have had sleep paralysis, and, she would, like, wake up and she would scream and it would wake me up in the middle of the night, and she wouldn't be able to move, and she'd be sweating, being like, and I'm like, "Are you okay? It's okay, we're here," and that would happen a lot, and
Yeah,
that happens to a lot of people where they think something's, like, pushing down on them, and it's funny because a lot of people describe it being a black figure, like, a man wearing a hat similar to Freddy.
really?
Yeah. I watched a whole documentary about sleep paralysis, and he doesn't have the hands, obviously, the knives or anything like that, but there is a very distinct man with a hat.
Wild.
Type in to Google "sleep paralysis man with hat," it looks like Freddy's silhouette. And the way that, Wes Craven, he talked about this in a documentary, I think it's called, like, Sleep No More or something like that, I can't remember, but it's so good. If you ever wanna watch a Friday thir or Nightmare on Elm Street documentary, it's fantastic. He talks about the influence for this was about these men in Southeast Asia, basically, who had come back to America after Vietnam, and they refused to sleep, and they actually slit their eyelids off, and they
What?
because they didn't wanna sleep. So
Oh, damn.
3 different men, I believe they were all from Cambodia and Vietnam, and they came to America, and they refused to sleep, and they slit their eyelids off, all 3 of them. And it
That
inspired Wes Craven to be like, "I bet these guys were like, they were doing anything to not fall asleep, and why would that be?"
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
and then also Kruger, the whole influence of him,
Yeah, it was a bully, right, or something when he was a
it
kid?
the name so Fred Krueger was a bully that he had as a kid, and it's funny because the main bad guy from Last House on the Left, which is Wes Craven's directorial debut,
Kruger.
his name is Kruger, yeah. But that's the name influence of some bully he had as a kid, but the character was actually from when he was a little boy, there was a guy who walked past his bedroom when he was a kid, and he looked out the window, and he just stand there staring at little Wes Craven, and he had a hat on
What?
like that, and he was in his alleyway. He tells a story, you can watch the documentary, he talks about this, and he literally was like, "This old man was walking past my bedroom window, and I looked out the window, and he just stood there staring at me, and I went to go get my brother, and then when I came back, he was gone." He's like, "That stuck with me for my entire life."
Wow. That's pretty crazy, all those things.
Yeah, man, because there's a lot that really went into this, and also the color patterns are apparently the most uncomfortable, colors to be next to each other
Like
for the 2
red and
dominant.
dark green or like a
Yeah.
mustardy green.
He did some analysis where it's like the 2 most uncomfortable colors next to each other are those colors, so that's why
Clashes. It clashes.
so much went into this where I feel like, Freddy and Michael Myers, they were more just kinda like, "Oh, let's get the William Shatner mask and, like, spray paint it, like, that'll look cool." But this is like,
More like reasoning.
yeah, a lot of effort went into building the character of Freddy Krueger. Also, the fact that Robert Englund plays him every single time. There's just something about this franchise that's just different than the Halloween and the Friday 13th, I feel like.
How old's Robert Englund now? You ever think he'll reprise Freddy again?
So, apparently, I've never seen that show, but it's called The Goldbergs, and it takes place in the '80s. It's like a show about, like, an '80s family or whatever, and they do a Nightmare on Elm Street episode, and Robert Englund comes back. Not gonna lie, he looks a little dated.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's not as I mean, in some ways scary. He is 73. Wow.
So the last time he was actually on screen, Freddy Krueger, like a Freddy movie, was 2003, which would have been Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, yep, yep, that was the last movie.
So that's 17 years ago.
But he did, like, a little cameo thing
Yeah.
for the Goldbergs.
Mhm. You know, he did fine, but it's kinda like, you know what it was like? It was like when you see Christopher Lloyd trying to do, like, "We're like, it's back to the
Oh,
roots of war." Like, that's what it felt like. They're like, this,
like, the energy isn't there as
it
much.
yeah, it doesn't look as good, and I'm sure if you're 73, you're not gonna be sitting there and be like, "Yeah, I'll do 6 hours of prosthetics
This
every
is
day."
God. It's like, "Whoa, it's creepy." Like
But not just the way that Fred England or that, Robert England delivers the lines, but also just his physicality. I don't think you could recapture that.
it's yeah, it really is something.
Well, he talks about it too. He says that the glove was actually really heavy and it weighed his right side down. So it kinda gave him this, like, little bit of a lurch on his
Like
right side.
lopsided, like
Yeah.
I'm lopsided, and he'd always move, and it was never, like, quick. It was always like, "I'm dreamy," and I'm, like, moving slow motion-y kind of, and I'm, like, swinging and flailing my arms at you.
Mm. No,
It's
yeah.
yeah, it's something, it's different.
Yeah, he's like not like a goofy guy, but yeah, he isn't as, like, calculated as Michael and Jason because they're just like these, like, unstoppable brick walls that are coming at you, where he's more, like, goofy, a little
Well, yeah, like, it gives the, like, unrealness, like you just said, like, the leaves on the ground inside the school. It's
Mm,
like, "Why are there all these leaves on the ground?" And, like, stuff like that, like, the stuff that feels bizarre and would be in a dream or a nightmare, and he, like, acts unreal, like, his mannerisms are unreal, like,
yeah.
not normal, like you would do. It's like, when you run away from something in a nightmare, it's like you're running in slow motion, has that kinda take to it, I guess.
And they have that one scene right in the beginning where Tina is almost running in place when she's trying to get away
Yeah,
from the boiler room.
yeah. Oh,
Uh,
I love the stairs scene, is probably my favorite in the whole movie, and
that
it's
was
like goop.
that was actually the producer's idea. Wes Craven didn't like that idea. Robert Shaye. It was his idea. He's like, "Oh, let's put toothpaste in the
I was
stairs."
about to say the guy from Jaws, like,
Nah.
he came up with that,
It's like, "Yeah, that's a good
like,
idea."
"You're gonna go up the stairs, and then
No,
Fred's up there."
Freddy's upstairs. But yeah, that was Robert Shaw's idea. Apparently, or Robert Shaye. And apparently Robert Shaye and Wes Craven butted heads a lot. Uh,
Oh,
and the ending especially was not Wes Craven's idea.
with her getting, like, sucked through the window or the whole car idea, and
I th I believe everything. They shot 4 different endings. The real ending was actually supposed to be a happy ending where Freddy really did get defeated, but then Robert Shaye was like, "No, we need sequels," and just did that stupid, like, sex doll dummy that gets ripped through the window at the end.
that's crazy they butt heads too. That
Oh,
stinks.
well, you know what's actually really I'm telling you guys, I'll stop talking about this documentary because I wanna talk about the actual movie, but there is this one thing too. Apparently, a couple years ago, right before Wes Craven died, Robert Shaye gave Wes Craven a lot of money because he didn't get any money in between the 3rd movie and the remake. He didn't get any of the money, except for New Nightmare. He got money for that. He didn't get any of the rights, any of the money and anything like that, and Robert Shaye was like, "Alright, here's all the money. Like, I owe you, and you yes. Like, I feel really bad." And
Damn,
they had a huge falling out, and then they kinda, like, got back together, and yeah.
made things right.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool.
That's good to hear.
But yeah, man, the movie.
Yeah, I always love the idea of the kids having the same nightmare.
Mm.
It's like he had these fingers, and it's like I had a nightmare about a guy with fingers. It's like that scene in The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan when she's like, "That's my birthday." It's like weird, and then she's like, oh, well, like, where do you go for the and, like, they're, like, figuring, like, "Wow, that's so weird. You were born the same day as me." It's like, "You have the same face." Like, and
Yeah.
it's like, "Hey, we have the same dream. That's so weird." It's like, "Yeah, no shit, that's weird." Yeah, like, that's insane.
Yeah, that this is way more creepy than two Lindsay Lohans being like,
That
"You
is
also like
weird.
peanut butter on your Oreos? Oh my goodness gracious." No.
You know
Uh,
what I mean, though? It's like, yeah, come on, look in a mirror and then look at each other. You're the same person. Like, that's a
look
meme. I didn't come up with that. I've seen that somewhere. Not the Nightmare in Elm Street connection, but that Lindsay Lohan thing. So funny.
look in the mirror. I don't understand what it was around this time, maybe it's just the '80s, but Rod just reminds me so much of Joel from Pumpkinhead, where it's just like, why are they friends with this guy?
Yeah. Like hey, I'm a pain in the ass because I don't get along with my dad. I
All
don't
he
get where
says
that
are sex jokes, and he's got a knife, and he's, like, physical with everybody, and he's
makes like
pushing.
domestic violence jokes. It's like, okay, like this is
Yeah, so you're like, "Why are we friends with this guy again?" And then Tina is just like, "Jungle Man, fix Jane." I'm like, "What is wrong with people?"
yeah.
I always thought I'm just like, "Man, there's a lot of scumbag dudes in these horror movies we're watching, especially in the '80s." Like,
Well, he wasn't at the end. He was a douche in some ways, but, like, he was trying to make things right. He's like, "I didn't kill her. I like Tina." And he was, like, starting to treat her nice and stuff,
yeah,
and then all Freddy happened, and then they
nah,
pin him for the murder.
he got Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah,
Big
bad.
time. The original Jeffrey Epstein. They're like, "Hey," maybe when they were killing Jeffrey Epstein, they're like, "Have you guys seen this movie? Like, why don't we just do that?" That whole scene anyways, that bothers me, that their whole relationship, and then my favorite thing that the police officer says about him too is just like, "He's a musician type, you know." Like,
What's that what's the musician type
I
thing?
don't know, I don't know.
Like, is he a
I think it's
choir is he a choir singer? Like, what is he? Does he
no,
play guitar, or is he, like, into, like is he just listening to music?
I think they mean like he's a bad boy, he's a musician type, like, it's just like, o okay, like, whatever. Yeah, that was such a stupid line.
That's so funny.
I gotta say, Wes Craven, very good at directing. His dialogue could use a little work. Sometimes some of the lines and I mean, I like Nancy as a character, but Heather Langenkamp's acting in this is hard to watch sometimes.
Sometimes. She
Dude,
has amazingly blue eyes. I never noticed it until, like, watching it closely. They are blue, dude. Bluer than the door of their house, like, blue eyes.
yeah. Yeah, no, she does. She is I mean, she's a pretty girl and, like, she's not a bad actress, but, like, when she takes that vodka and she's like, "Yeah, screw your sleep," and, like,
Yeah.
smashes it, I'm just like,
"Mother!" Like, ugh.
yeah, it's rough. It's sometimes rough, and I'm like, "Okay." And then it's weird to see Johnny Depp, like, not, like, being like, "Hello, where's all around? Like, just, like, seeing him, like, just act like a human.
Yeah.
It's
I feel
weird.
like I feel like in this movie, there's like, "Hey, Johnny, just say this line." He's like, "Okay." There wasn't a lot of emotion
No.
in his acting.
The other thing I noticed too, it's so funny. Could you imagine any guy dressing like how Johnny Depp dressed when, he's,
Like
like,
a
about to get killed in his,
like a
like, cut off
midriff
t-shirt?
mid crop top t
It's so funny, man. In the '80s, like, I'm watching we've watched a lot of '80s horror movies recently. It's like all of the, like, things that like, that would be considered pretty gay nowadays. If, like, a straight guy wore, like, a mid cut off t-shirt and had, like, a
Oh,
mustache and stuff.
don't even open the Pandora's box of Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge and the gay undertones, and that movie is an iconic gay movie. No shit, Google it.
Yeah,
Not making
there
fun of it, just saying, like, that is a gay pride movie.
I don't wanna get too into this either because obviously it's not this movie, but there's a whole documentary about that, dude, about because the lead
You watch
actor
a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street documentaries.
I love the I love no, I really do. I love to see how these are made, man. I love to see, like, the behind the scenes stuff because there's so much content. But yeah, that movie, really quick, the lead actor, yeah, he was, a gay guy in the '80s and he didn't come out. And then this movie came out and everyone typecasted him as like, "Oh, this is like the gayest horror movie ever." So he left and moved to Mexico for like 25 years and was like,
What?
"I'm done. I'm not gonna be an actor anymore. I'm gonna live with my boyfriend in Mexico." And he moved there and was like off the radar. And then these people found him and they did a documentary about him addressing the writer and the director of this movie, being like, "You guys knew this was a gay movie. You knew I was gay, and you knew what this would do to me." And it's like a whole documentary.
Wow.
Dude, it
Holy
came out like last
shit,
year.
dude.
It's called like My Nightmare on Elm Street or something like that.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of cool shit that happened behind the scenes of the series. And that's just one aspect of it is the second movie. And yeah, it's got all these like homoerotic undertones and and it, like, ruined this guy's career.
Jeez, man. And he was good in that movie, I thought.
Yeah,
Like,
they call him
he
the
wa
original, like, scream queen, the first male scream queen.
huh.
So anyways, but that's the sequel, Freddy's Revenge,
Yeah, let's put that on the wheel next time. That'd be good to talk about.
that has my 2nd scariest Freddy moment of the entire series,
The
actually.
opening scene with the bus?
No, the way that Freddy physically looks, his physical appearance at the
Oh.
ending of the 2nd one, I think is his 2nd scariest appearance in the entire franchise.
Huh. Yeah, well, I like how that they do the bus at the beginning. That's such a cool opening scene, but it correlates to the end shot of, like, Freddy taking over control of the car.
Mm,
'Cause that
yeah,
ki it's like, "Oh," so it's like, you end with the car and you start with the bus the next time. And it's like, "Ah,
mm,
that's kinda cool." Freddy's
yeah.
Revenge.
What do you think about Freddy in general in this one? Because he's not a child molester, he's just a child, killer in this one,
Yeah, he
and
killed 20 kids, right?
yeah,
The idea that, like, hey, like, some judge or something forgot to cross the T's and dot the I's on his search warrant, and he walked out free. It's like, he still killed 20 kids,
yeah.
and there's, like, probably tons of proof, so
Do you
what do you mean, like, the search warrant didn't, like, "Oh, not valid," like, that's not how that works.
just try and wrap your head around this. 20 kids in one town all die. That's international news.
Easily.
Like, imagine Avon, our hometown, there's what, like, maybe 20,000 people? Maybe? I don't even think it's that big.
No, I don't
And
even think so.
20 children in that town getting killed, that would people would be talking about that right now still. They'd be
Oh,
like, "Oh,
yeah,
the 20 that got killed in '84 or whatever," or whatever. That would never stop. That would ruin a town.
and especially if the guy is walking out free. No way.
I know. And no one they don't tell the kids, like, none of the kids like, "Remember, like, Trevor when I was 5? What happened to him? And Tommy and Kimmy and Sarah?" And, like, there's 20 fucking kids.
They should have wrote it, and they kinda did this in the new one, and he was a molester in the new one too. This he's just a murderer, and I think they meant for him to be a molester in this one as well, but
They did.
they were like, "No, no, no, let's keep it
There's a
a little
reason. There's a
tame."
reason
Oh,
that
what's
they
the reason?
apparently, while they were filming, there was a semi-similar case of a child
Oh.
molester in Los Angeles, and it was while they were filming this, and they changed it. They're like, "Yeah, let's not make them think we're trying to, like, copy this."
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So they changed it to just child murderer.
Okay. In the new one, though, it was like they never caught him. They didn't know it was him, and then when they found out, they just went to his house and burnt him, like,
Right.
burnt his house down. Whereas this, it's like he got trialed, and he got out free. It's like, "No, you should have just been like, 'We found him, and we're gonna kill him right away,' and not even give him another day on this earth," kinda attitude, and
That's probably the only thing in the reboot that actually
made some sense, yeah.
not even no, none of it just made some sense, but, like, was an improvement on the original. It may be the only thing.
Yeah. It's like, "Hey, like, who's this guy killing these kids?" It's like, they knew it was Freddy all along. I don't know. It's, they're a little disjointed there, I guess.
Yeah, like, why would Fred Krueger's name be in his hat?
Yeah. Yeah. And why did you go by Fred? I thought it was Freddy. No, it's like, It's Fred. It's Fred. Fred Krueger, not Freddy. Stop it.'"
I think Freddy, it, like, comes with a comedy later. I think in the 2nd one, I think it's called Freddy's Revenge, so I think that's the first time they
He
kinda
does say he calls himself Freddy. It's just in his hat. He's like, "I'm Freddy," and he, like, says that to Nancy, I think. He's like,
Mm,
"Here's Freddy," or something. He says Freddy, though.
yeah. There's only 4 deaths in this movie.
Yeah.
That's pretty tame for a slasher for the first entry in a slasher movie, only 4? There's
But
2
then there's
in
the 20 kids from before, but
oh, man.
they're all off screen. Yeah, Freddy's kill count is only 4. That's like, yeah, it's not a lot of action, but man, when he kills somebody, he spares no expense, man, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. I mean, the first kill in the movie is Tina just getting flung around the room, and then that blood dude, when she drops it, then her body looks great when it hits the bed, and it's all, like, her just covered in blood.
She's got a lot of blood.
Yeah. Well, not as much as Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Johnny Depp in the bed. It's like, "Hey, next death, it's gotta be crazier." And then the mother's, like, the craziest. What the hell in her arm? Like, what yeah, it's crazy.
A mother one's dumb, dude. That looks like
Yeah,
a bad
that's like jumping they jumped the shark with Johnny Depp, like, that was ridiculous, and then they jumped the shark again, so it's like, okay.
where she turns into, like, a fucking Party City skeleton and then melts into the bed. You're like, "Okay."
Oh, I love it.
I always remember too, really quick, that line that Johnny Depp says when he hears the other people having sex, he hears Tina and Rod fucking, he's like, "Morality sucks." Like,
That's what goes to your head?
I
Morality
dis
sucks.
I distinctly remember that scene because we were probably, like, 13 or 14. I was like, "I'm not getting laid," and I was just like, "Man, like, this I feel like Johnny Depp, like,
Yeah.
this sucks."
Morality sucks.
Yeah.
I like for when Nancy goes, "Oh, for Pete's sake," at one point when she's, like, in the bathtub or something. I forgot when she
Yeah.
says it, but, like, "Oh, for Pete's sake."
What's up with all these fucking movies in the '80s where women's hair is just turning, like, streaks of gray?
I guess that's a sign that you're super stressed or tired. Like, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
have gray hair,
Yeah.
you're stressed. I don't
Oh,
know, but,
okay.
like, does
Okay.
that's not how it works. Your hair doesn't just streak like Rogue from X-Men,
I
like,
know. Yeah. I was like, that happened to Poltergeist, then it happened in this, and then the "Nancy, fuck you," and she's like, "I look 20 years old." I'm like, "Oh my god, okay." I'm like,
jeez Louise,
"Get the
right
fuck
there.
outta here,
For Pete's sake, for Pete's sake,
Nancy."
Nancy.
And then the whole ending, like, Home Alone sequence, I'm telling you right now, you know the theme song that, like,
Yeah, what's that? I know that,
I can't remember, it's like Barney Gumble or like,
shit, what's that called?
I know, I can't remember what it's called either, but that song, dude, just play that song in the last, like, 5 minutes of the movie or whatever when Freddy's getting hit with the sledgehammer and falling down the stairs and then lights on fire. If you're playing that, dude, I guarantee you will cry laughing with that music because it's just so he gets so like, the sledgehammer swings like, "Duh," and then, like, falls down, it's like, "Oh," and then, like, gets lit on
Yeah, I
fire
need
and
some,
then
like, Looney Tune sound effects.
it falls down the stairs on fire like, "Dun, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun." Just I used to do it, man. It is funny.
Ugh, you got
Uh,
too much time on your hands there.
I seriously feel like I could talk about this movie for, like, a straight hour.
Are we
I
already at a half an hour?
we do this was to me, this one flew by faster than any of them
Oh,
ever.
jeez. Alright, I
I
gotta
know.
just say one thing before we end it, like, that hall pass Freddy lady.
Mm.
"Where's your hall pass?" Like, she coulda starred in the movie, she was terrifying.
"Screw your hall pass." Yeah, with the bloody nose.
Oh, that freaked me out. And
Ooh, and then
I gotta say a couple things quick, the stay awake pills. She's like,
yeah,
I gotta stay awake." And, like, she opens a cabinet, it's like, "Stay awake pills,
yeah, stay
jumbo
awake, Bill.
size."
And
It's
then
like,
she's got the extra pot of coffee, like, how does her mom not see, like, the extension cable, like, running for that extra pot of coffee?
yeah, dude, so funny.
Oh, the you know what? I don't think I've actually ever read Hamlet, but I remember Macbeth is the one where he stays awake for days and starts seeing ghosts and stuff. Why are
Yeah.
they quoting Hamlet in the classroom? Why aren't they quoting Macbeth?
I don't know, I don't know. That's a good question.
Because he says that one line where he's just like, "And you have bad dreams." That scared me.
Yeah, it's like,
Um,
well, another thing I thought of, like, while watching this thing, man, they're probably really pissed that Halloween 2 used Mr. Sandman.
mm,
It's like, oh, they probably like, "Man, if that movie didn't have it, we would that's a perfect movie." Or like the song "Dream, Dream, Dream,
they use
Dream."
that in the remake.
They do,
Yep,
they
they
do,
do, they
okay.
do. The other thing is, and I don't know if this is true, apparently Wes Craven loved the song Dreamweaver,
Yeah, by, from, like, Wayne's World or whatever,
and
the
and
Dreamweaver.
the, synthesizers from that actually influenced the score.
Interesting.
Because the
And
score not the score, but, like, a lot of the times when he's attacking, there is kind of this, like, '80s, early '80s, like, synth, like, "Dee, dee, dee, dee," like, you kinda hear, like, the computerized version when they're, like, wrestling and stuff. What is the scariest moment of the whole movie to you?
scariest moment of the whole movie,
Yeah.
opening shot or hall pass woman. That freaked me out, the hall pass, like, kinda tripped me up.
I think for me, it's, when he says, like, "This is God." Like, I remember when I was a kid, that really scared me because I was like, "Oh, they're, like, talking about God and Jesus like that? Like, what?" Like, I really that really
Yeah,
freaked me out
well,
when I was
that's
a
really
kid.
dark. That
Yeah, and
what does that
then,
mean?
the other line is when Nancy kinda, like, the first time, she's like, he's not real," and he just smashes through the mirror and grabs her.
Oh,
That
yeah, that was pretty scary, yeah.
you are not expecting that, and it's just that really got me. And
Alright.
really, 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 really
Yeah,
last thing,
we got, like,
I
the
know.
right so this rifle off a couple things.
My favorite line in the entire franchise is like, "This is your big break." He's just like, your big break in TVs. Welcome to prime time, bitch," and he smashes her head. That's my favorite line of, like, any slasher movie ever. I love
Yeah.
that.
2 quick things, I love the final showdown where she's, like, hunting him instead of, like and, like, when she's in his nightmare and she's going, "Krueger, I'm here," he's probably like, "Oh, this isn't how this works,"
Mm.
like but also, Nancy, if you're having trouble staying up, do a podcast where you watch a horror movie every night for 31 days. You'll have no problem staying up.
Yeah, it's true. I've been falling asleep to horror movies
I
every
am messed up, dude, right now.
We're technically halfway through. This is day 15.
Halfway point, halfway through the
Alright.
wheel. All right, let's spin it while we're at it.
Spin the wheel of horror.
Spinning the wheel, spinning the
This
wheel. Yes.
this is
Spinning. Ooh. Outlander. We got Children of the Corn, Alec.
Oh, I thought you said Highlander. I was like, that's on the fucking wheel?
No, it could be next. Oh, we'll add it next time. Put it on the
God,
next one.
Highlander's not a horror movie.
Put it on the next wheel. We'll have fun. That I have a whole running list, man.
Well, all right, cool. Children of the Corn. We'll be back tomorrow. Sorry, I feel like I talked like this entire episode.
No, yeah, it was really interesting stuff that I was like blown away by, honestly. Cutting eyelids off and ruining some guy's career from the. It's crazy.
I know. I've been excited to talk about this movie. I wish. All right, we gotta do an extra episode one day. But anyways, all right, guys. Thanks a lot for listening in, and we will see you tomorrow with Children of the Corn.
Ooh.
Malachi.